The Walker house smelled like Thanksgiving was supposed to: sage, butter, and roasting turkey fat. But underneath it all was the faint electric hum of too many people in a space built for fewer. Football blared from the living room TV, punctuated by Uncle Greg's commentary that nobody asked for. In the kitchen, Ethan's mom and two aunts navigated around each other with the practiced choreography of women who'd spent decades sharing holiday prep duty, wooden spoons and wine glasses moving in careful orbits. Ethan wasn't part of any of it. He was in his workspace, what used to be a sunroom before he turned it into a server closet with a desk, checking logs on his home lab rig. The Ryzen 9 tower sat on a reinforced shelf next to a 4-bay NAS, both humming their steady white noise under the glow of status LEDs. Green across the board. Plex was serving 3 concurrent streams to his Discord community. The backup routine had completed at 4 a.m. without errors. RAID array, healthy. Everything exactly as it should be. He heard the footsteps before he saw the shadow in the doorway. "Yo, Ethan!" Braden stood there in a wrinkled polo shirt and khakis that looked like they'd been ironed by someone who hated ironing. 12 years old, homeschooled by a curriculum that probably thought the internet was optional, and staring at Ethan's setup like it was the bridge of the USS Enterprise. "What's up, Braden?" Ethan kept his tone neutral, eyes still on his monitor. "Is that like a gaming PC?" Ethan glanced over. The kid was fixated on the server tower, the one with no RGB lighting, no tempered glass panel, just a black fractal case covered in warning stickers about RAID configurations. "Not exactly. It's a server." "But it's a computer, right?" "Yeah, but..." Ethan caught himself before launching into a lecture about the difference between consumer hardware and enterprise-grade compute. "It runs stuff in the background, hosting, backups, media streaming, not really for playing games." Braden stepped fully into the room now, uninvited. His eyes tracked the cable management, Velcro straps holding Ethernet and power runs against the wall in clean parallel lines, and landed on the second machine, Ethan's actual workstation. "What about that one?" "That's my daily driver, schoolwork, freelance stuff." "Do you play games on it?" Ethan: "Sometimes, when I have time." "So you have 2 computers?" Braden said it like he just solved a riddle, like Ethan was hoarding resources while the rest of the family starved. "They do different jobs," Ethan said, patience thinning. He minimized his terminal window and swiveled his chair to face Braden properly. "The server handles my Discord community, about 5,000 people, plus media hosting for friends, plus it's my test environment for grad school projects. The other one is just a computer, for work." Braden's face did that thing kids do when they're only half listening, already forming their next question. "Does the game one run Fortnite?" "Probably, but I don't..." "Can I try?" "Not right now, man. I'm in the middle of something." Braden's disappointment was immediate and theatrical, the kind that only a kid raised without screens could muster. He looked around the room again, scanning for anything that might validate his trip down the hallway. His gaze landed on the NAS. "What's that box?" "Storage. Think of it like a really big external hard drive that multiple devices can use at the same time." "For games?" Ethan rubbed his temple. "For data, movies, backups, project files." "Oh," Braden kicked at the carpet. "So, you don't really play on these?" "Not really, no." "Then why do you need 2? It was an honest question, delivered with the bluntness of someone who'd never had to justify owning more than one of anything. Ethan took a breath. "Same reason a mechanic needs more than one wrench. Different tools, different jobs." Braden nodded slowly, but his eyes said he didn't buy it. He lingered in the doorway for another beat, long enough for Ethan to wonder if he should physically escort him out, then shuffled back toward the noise of the living room. Ethan turned back to his screens. The Discord notification count had climbed, someone probably asking about server downtime that hadn't happened. He typed out a quick reassurance in the admin channel, then leaned back in his chair, listening to the house. From the kitchen, Aunt Rebecca's voice cut through the din. "Braden, honey, you need to stop bothering your cousin." Ethan couldn't hear Braden's response, but he heard his mom's reply, light and diplomatic. "Oh, he's fine. Ethan doesn't mind." Except Ethan did mind, a little. Not because Braden was annoying, kids were kids, but because there was something in the way Rebecca said "your cousin" that made it sound like an obligation. Like Ethan owed Braden something just by virtue of shared genetics and a holiday meal. 20 minutes later, Braden was back. "My mom says you should let me play something." Ethan blinked. "She said that?" "She said you have all this stuff and it's Thanksgiving, so you should share." The audacity of it landed like a slap. Ethan kept his voice even. "Braden, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but these machines aren't toys. They're work equipment." "You said you play games sometimes." "Yeah, sometimes. When I'm done with actual work." "Well, I don't have any games." Braden crossed his arms, his posture a miniature echo of his mother's self-righteousness. "And you have 2 whole computers. That's not really fair." Ethan felt the familiar creep of frustration, not at Braden exactly, but at the logic being fed to him from somewhere else. "Life's not fair, dude. You'll figure that out." Braden's face crumpled, just slightly, and for a second Ethan felt bad. Then the kid turned and stomped off, and the guilt evaporated into irritation. From the kitchen, louder now. "Ethan, sweetie, can you come here for a sec?" He saved his work and walked into the culinary war zone. Aunt Rebecca stood by the island, arms crossed, radiating the kind of passive-aggressive concern that made every word sound like an accusation. "Braden says you won't let him use your computer." Ethan's mom glanced up from the stuffing, her expression a silent, "Please don't make this a thing." "They're not really set up for that," Ethan said carefully. "The server runs 24/7. If something gets unplugged or messed with, it could crush everything I'm hosting." Rebecca tilted her head. "Isn't one of them just a spare?" "No, they both serve specific purposes." "But you have 2. She said it the same way Braden had, like quantity alone was proof of excess. Ethan's dad wandered in from the living room, beer in hand, reading the room. "What's going on?" "Nothing," Ethan said quickly. "Just explaining how my setup works." "He's got all this expensive equipment," Rebecca said, her voice pitching up into martyrdom. "And you won't even let Braden look at it. It's Thanksgiving." Ethan's dad gave him a look that said, "Is this worth it?" And Ethan realized the answer was no. Not here, not now, not with mashed potatoes on the line. "I'll show him some stuff later," Ethan said. "After dinner, supervised." Rebecca's smile was thin but victorious. "That's all I'm asking." Ethan retreated to his workspace and locked the door, quietly so it wouldn't seem petty. He sat back down, stared at his screens, and felt the low hum of dread settle in his gut. Should have logged this from the start. Outside, Braden's voice drifted down the hall, talking to one of the younger cousins. "Ethan's got like a whole computer lab in there, but he's being weird about it." Ethan closed his eyes. It was going to be a long weekend. The phone buzzed once, then twice. Then it stopped pretending to be polite and just started screaming. Ethan was halfway through pecan pie when the Discord notifications hit triple digits. He pulled out his phone under the table. His mom hated screens during meals, and watched the counter climb. 50, 70, 93. At Ethan Walker, server down? At Ethan Walker, Plex is dead. At Ethan Walker, what the fuck happened? His stomach dropped. The home lab didn't just go down. UPS backup, redundant power, 24/7 uptime. Something was catastrophically wrong. He stood abruptly. Excuse me, work thing. His dad's eyebrow raised, but Ethan was already moving, dodging cousins on the living room floor, phone clutched tight. 112 notifications. 120. His heart hammered against his ribs. He reached his workspace. The door, the one he'd locked, stood wide open. The silence hit him first. No fan hum, no LED glow, no status lights, just dead air and disturbed dust. Then he saw Braden, sitting cross-legged on the floor beside the server rack, holding a DisplayPort cable. "What are you doing in here?" Braden looked up, startled but not guilty. The door was unlocked. It wasn't. Ethan had locked it. He knew he had. "What did you do?" "Nothing. I was just looking." Ethan stepped inside and his vision tunneled. The power strip flipped to off. Every device dark and silent. The Ryzen 9 tower, the NAS, the network switch, all dead. His hands went numb. SATA cables dangled from the NAS bays like pulled teeth. Ethernet runs yanked from the switch, clips broken. Cable management he'd spent hours perfecting was now a rat's nest on the floor, Velcro straps torn, cables kinked and twisted. Braden stood up, defensive. "I didn't break anything. I was trying to plug in the monitor." "Why?" "I wanted to see if it worked." Ethan's jaw clenched. He crouched beside the server, checking cables with shaking fingers. One SATA connector had a bent pin. Another was cracked at the housing, looked like it had been yanked while the drive was spinning. His phone kept buzzing. The Discord chat had devolved into chaos. "How did you get in?" His voice came out flat, anger compressed into cold control. "The door was open," Braden repeated, eyes flicking toward the window, the one Ethan kept cracked for airflow. Old lock, easy to jimmy. Ethan stood slowly. His heartbeat was loud in his ears, drowning out the distant football commentary and his aunt's laugh from the kitchen. He looked at this 12-year-old kid who just killed 5,000 people's media server because he wanted to see if it worked. "Get out." Braden blinked. "What?" "Out, now." "I said I didn't break anything." "You unplugged everything." Ethan's voice cracked. "You shut down a live server. You pulled data cables while drives were spinning. Do you have any idea?" Braden's face crumpled. Pre-cry scrunch. "I just wanted to play a game." "It's not a gaming PC." The words came out sharper than intended. Braden flinched. "I told you that, and you broke into my room and destroyed." Footsteps. Fast ones. Aunt Rebecca appeared in the doorway, maternal radar pinging. "What's going on?" Braden's tears arrived on cue. "Ethan's yelling at me." "Because he got into my equipment and shut everything down. I've got people depending on this server." "He said I could use it." Braden's voice hitched into full sob mode. "I absolutely did not." Rebecca's expression hardened into protective shield wall. "Ethan, he's 12. You don't need to scream at him." "I'm not." Ethan bit down hard. His phone buzzed again. 147 notifications. "I need to fix this. Please, just get him out." Rebecca steered Braden toward the door, hand on his shoulder. She threw Ethan a look, disappointment mixed with accusation. "We'll talk about this later." The door clicked shut. Ethan stood in the wreckage, phone buzzing like a dying hornet, throat tight. Not from anger anymore, from the sheer weight of what he was looking at. Hours of work undone, data potentially corrupted, 5,000 people left in the dark because a kid wanted to play Fortnite. He knelt beside the server and started the mental checklist. Power integrity, drive health, ride status, backup verification. The recovery protocol he'd practiced but never needed. His hands were still shaking, but they'd steady. They had to. He had work to do. 40 minutes of triage later, Ethan had managed to get the server back online. The RAID array was rebuilding, painfully slow, 3% per hour, but at least it was functional. Discord was back up. The angry notifications had slowed to a trickle. He was staring at the diagnostic screen, monitoring the progress, when he heard the breathing. Not his own, someone else's. Close. He turned around. Braden was back, lying on the floor, arms wrapped around the server tower in a full-body embrace, cheek pressed against the metal case like it was a teddy bear. For 5 seconds, Ethan's brain refused to process it. The server weighed 40 pounds. It had sharp corners and exhaust vents. It was not huggable. "Braden, what are you doing?" Braden's grip tightened, nails scraping the powder coat. It's mine now." "No, it's not. You have 2. His voice cracked, shrill. "You don't need this one." Ethan stepped forward. Braden made a sound, a hissing guttural thing from the back of his throat, like a cornered cat. His legs wrapped around the tower base, ankles locking. "Did you just—" Ethan stopped, reset. "Braden, let go of the server." The kid was fully committed, pupils dilated, body language screaming "mine" in a language older than words. He bared his teeth, actual teeth, like he'd bite if Ethan got closer. Ethan felt his sanity fray. This couldn't be happening. A 12-year-old having a territorial meltdown over enterprise hardware. "Braden, I'm not kidding. Let go." Braden rolled onto his back, pulling the server with him, cradling it against his chest. The power cable strained. The Ethernet jack groaned. Ethan lunged, not for the kid, just to stabilize the tower, and Braden shrieked. High-pitched, primal, the kind of sound that activated every parental alarm in a 3-house radius. Footsteps thundered down the hall. His mom, his dad, Uncle Greg, Aunt Rebecca. Rebecca burst through first, scanning for blood. "What did you do to him?" "I didn't. He's wrapped around my server." "The computer is mine." Braden wailed, face red, tears streaming. "Ethan said I could have it." "I absolutely did not say that." Rebecca dropped to her knees beside Braden, hands hovering. "Baby, what happened?" "He yelled at me and tried to take it, and I just wanted to play games like normal kids, and he has 2. Ethan's mom appeared, pale. "Ethan, what is going on?" "He broke into my room again. He's holding my server hostage and making cat noises." Uncle Greg snorted. Rebecca turned to Ethan, eyes promising lawsuits. "You traumatized him." "I traumatized him? He's 12. He doesn't understand your technical jargon. He just wanted to connect with you, and you made him feel like a criminal." Ethan stared, at Braden clutching the server, at his parents frozen in the doorway, calculating diplomatic responses. "Aunt Rebecca, your son broke into my locked room, twice. He shut down equipment 5,000 people depend on. This isn't about sharing." "You're an adult. Rebecca's voice sharpened. He's a child. You should have been more patient. I did explain. He didn't listen. Because you made him feel stupid. Ethan's dad stepped in, voice calm but firm. Braden, buddy, let go of the computer. Braden shook his head. It's mine. It's not, champ. That's Ethan's work equipment. You can't take something just because you want it. It took 3 adults to pry him loose. Ethan's dad and Uncle Greg unwrapping Braden's limbs like defusing a bomb. Rebecca kept up reassurance. It's okay, baby. You're not in trouble. That made Ethan's teeth grind. When they freed the server, Braden went limp, sobbing into his mother's shoulder. Rebecca stood, cradling him, and shot Ethan one last look of pure maternal fury. He's going to need therapy for this. She swept out, Braden's wails echoing. Uncle Greg followed, shaking his head. Ethan's parents lingered. You okay? His mom asked quietly. Ethan looked at the server. Long stretches down both side panels where Braden's nails had dug in. Front USB ports bent at wrong angles. One rubber foot torn off, leaving the case crooked. Yeah, I'm fine. His dad squeezed his shoulder and left. His mom hesitated, then followed. Ethan sat on the floor and catalogued the damage. Scratched panels, cosmetic, survivable. Bent USB ports, replaceable. Kinked Ethernet cable, borderline, might affect throughput. Broken RJ45 clip, needs replacement. Torn rubber foot, vibration risk. He opened a new note on his phone. From the living room. I don't care if it's Thanksgiving, we're leaving. My son is distraught. Ethan pulled up Amazon, started pricing replacement parts. It was going to be a very long weekend. The phone rang at 9:47 a.m. the next morning. Ethan was monitoring the RAID rebuild, 62%, when his mom appeared in the doorway, phone extended like a live grenade. Yes, Rebecca, he's here. Ethan took it. Hello? We need to talk about yesterday. Aunt Rebecca's voice was rehearsed calm. Braden didn't sleep. He's having panic attacks. Our pediatrician says this is acute stress response. Ethan set down his coffee. Rebecca, I'm sorry he's upset, but... Sorry doesn't pay for therapy, Ethan. Weekly sessions, possibly medication. Dr. Patterson says trauma like this has long-term developmental impacts. The word trauma hung in the air. He broke into my room twice and damaged expensive equipment. That's consequences, not trauma. He's 12. You're an adult. You should have handled it better. I've spoken to a family attorney. You have responsibility here. You're threatening legal action over Thanksgiving dinner. I'm informing you of our options. Braden's therapy will cost money. The person who caused this should help cover it. The person who caused this broke into a locked room and destroyed my equipment. Rebecca's sigh was theatrical. I'm not asking you to admit fault. I'm asking you to do the right thing. Family takes care of family. We'll be in touch about costs. She hung up. Ethan handed the phone back to his mom. She wants me to pay for Braden's therapy because I traumatized him. His mom closed her eyes. Of course she does. 3 hours later, Facebook buzzed. Rebecca Holloway sent you a message. Ethan, since you're not responding reasonably, I'm giving you one more chance. Braden's first therapy appointment is next Wednesday. The initial evaluation is $300. I'm attaching Dr. Patterson's invoice. We expect reimbursement by month's end. Then, also, I've started a GoFundMe to help families who can't afford technology for their children. Since you wouldn't share yours, maybe you can donate to kids who actually need it. Link in my bio. Ethan clicked her profile. Pinned at top, help kids access technology. So many children are left behind because families can't afford computers. Every child deserves a chance. Please donate. Hashtag digital equity. Hashtag think of the children. Created that morning. 0 donations. Stock photo of a kid staring at a laptop. 3 paragraphs about generous family members who refuse to help. Ethan screenshot everything. Messages, GoFundMe, timestamps. He walked into the kitchen where his parents were reading the newspaper. Rebecca's demanding therapy payment, and she made a fake charity page. His dad read the screenshots, face hardening. This is harassment. She's trying to publicly shame you into paying for damages her son caused. His mom set the phone down carefully. What do I do? Document everything. Don't respond. Tell her once, clearly, no further communication without a lawyer if this continues. Won't that make it worse? It's already worse. She's moved past family drama. You need boundaries. Ethan spent the afternoon building his case. Screenshots by timestamp, damaged photos with metadata, Amazon receipts, written timeline, clinical and factual. He drafted one message. I won't be responding to further messages or paying expenses related to Thanksgiving. Braden damaged my property after breaking into a locked room twice. I have documented everything. Don't contact me again unless through a lawyer. Read it 3 times. Sent it. Blocked her number, blocked Facebook, reported the GoFundMe. The raid rebuild finished. Green lights across the board. Everything back to normal, except scratches, bent ports, and the faint anxiety whenever he heard footsteps. His Discord admin chat buzzed. Yo, everything stable now? Yeah, we back online? Ethan smiled slightly. Long story. All good now. Servers solid. He stood and went to install a deadbolt. The kind requiring a key from both sides. The kind a 12-year-old with a butter knife couldn't jimmy. Some lessons were expensive, but you only learn them once. The backups didn't betray him. That was the first good news in 72 hours. Sunday afternoon, Ethan sat on his workspace floor, surrounded by Amazon boxes and stripped packaging. 3 days since Thanksgiving, 3 days of ordering parts, waiting for delivery, and slowly rebuilding what Braden had destroyed. His laptop displayed terminal windows, file integrity checks, scrolling green OK messages like a digital rosary. The RAID array had finished its rebuild overnight. No corrupted sectors, no lost data. Clean, beautiful redundancy, doing exactly what it was designed to do. It learns a lesson. Trust your backups more than your family. The replacement Ethernet cables still smell like factory plastic. He connected the final SATA cable, that satisfying click of proper seating, no force required, and powered everything up in sequence. PSU first, NAS next, then the main server, its post beep echoing like a tiny hymn. Green lights cascaded across the rack. The NAS showed 4 healthy drives. His monitoring dashboard populated with upward trending graphs. Plex operational. Discord bot reconnected. Game servers launching. Backup scheduler resumed. He'd rebuilt systems before. Corrupted installs, failed drives, power surges. But this felt different. This was recovery from sabotage, from family. The difference sat heavy between anger and exhaustion. His phone buzzed. Discord admin chat lighting up at Ethan Walker. "Holy shit, you're back! Plex Lives! Yo, what happened?" Ethan typed carefully. "Family emergency. Hardware got damaged. Everything's restored from backup. Sorry for the downtime." The responses came fast. "All good, man. Shit happens, as long as you're okay." One user sent a private message. "Hey, if you need help covering repair costs, let me know. This server's been a lifesaver. Happy to chip in." Ethan stared at it. 5,000 strangers, and this one was offering to help pay for damage his own family caused. "Thanks, really, but I've got it covered. Just glad to be back online." He closed the laptop and stood, joints popping. The new deadbolt on his door caught his eye. Brushed steel, heavy duty. He'd installed it Saturday morning, while his dad held the drill steady and didn't ask questions. "Good luck," his dad had said, testing the throw. Solid. They both knew what it meant. Some boundaries needed hardware. Ethan checked the window latch, the one Braden had jimmied. New spring-loaded mechanism, reinforced. Required 2 hands and deliberate force. No more butter knife bypasses. His workspace looked different now. Not just new parts, but something psychological. More server room than bedroom. Professional, secured. The scratches on the server case remained, permanent reminders, but everything else had been systematized, hardened against casual interference. He opened a new document. Access Policy, Home Lab. 1. Physical access restricted to owner only. 2. All doors remain locked when unattended. 3. No exceptions for family visits. 4. Backup verification weekly. 5. Document all incidents regardless of source. Simple rules, the kind he should have implemented years ago, but never needed until a 12-year-old taught him why professionals use access control. His phone buzzed. His mom, texting from downstairs. "Rebecca called again. I told her we're not discussing this anymore. She's upset, but that's not your problem. Love you." Ethan smiled slightly. Boundaries work both ways. He printed the policy and taped it to his door at eye level. A declaration of terms. Professional, clear, non-negotiable. The server hummed behind him. Steady, reliable, back to doing what it did best. Serving files, hosting communities, running quietly in the background of 5,000 people's lives. Ethan leaned back and closed his eyes. The tension in his shoulders finally started to unwind. Not gone, that would take weeks, but loosening. Some lessons cost you hardware. Some cost family dinners. This one cost both. But at least he'd learned it thoroughly. Trust your backups. Lock your doors. Never apologize for protecting what you built. The server fan's white noise filled the room, and for the first time in 4 days, it sounded like peace.